do you plan to explain that someday to your child, though? Like the moment that he killed you?
Did he kill me?
Yes.
On screen?
Technically, yeah.
On screen?
Yeah.
How?
It's like magic boom, and you got the spell that brought you back to life.
Oh yeah. Was that chucked already?
Yes.
Was it?
I think. Help me.
I don't. Yeah. I remember the thing I was. No, you're probably right. I don't know. The thing I remember is when they killed me off screen when I wasn't there, and like there's just charcoal remain on the floor, and I was like watching it at 5 o'clock in the morning in Scotland, and I'm like, oh my god! And then I saw it, and the cadaver on the floor, whatever you call it, the remnants had broad shoulders and narrow hips. I was like, that's not me.
All right, thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you. Sorry if I messed up your question.
Thank you.
Hello. Hi.
It's not really a question, just a follow-up to what you said about you should ask your loved ones what they would send you.
Yes.
So my son died 4.5 years ago, and before my daughter asked him, what sign are you going to send us? And he said, man bugs. He was 18. She said, what's that? He's like, like ladybugs, but for a man. And we used a camper for his treatment, and when we were cleaning it out, there were thousands of ladybugs all over the camper.
Oh my gosh, I just got so many goosebumps. Oh my goodness, thank you for telling us. Holy man bug. Oh my god. Can I give you a hug?
Sure.
Oh my god. So awesome. My goodness. Wow. There's been laughter, there's been tears. For 10 minutes.
Were you a fan of Nirvana at all?
Yeah, obsessed. What's your favorite song?
Nirvana?
Mm-hmm. That one. That's not good. You know what I mean.
Dance down the Vegas, here we are now. Well, that was Smells Like Teen Spirit. That was what we were just listening to, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No, that's not my favorite one. And I blank on their titles because I would just put it in and let it play. I wouldn't look at the names of their songs.
One time I saw.
I would put the cassette tape. I would put the cassette tape in and then I would just let it play, but I wasn't looking at the micro print on the. So,
Yeah.
I mean, it was like with them and like Pearl Jam stuff, like I had to go back and like, what were the names of those songs?
Yeah.
I mean, Pearl Jam was easy because it was usually just like one word.
Jeremy, that's it. That's what we used to
Jeremy,
know.
Alive, Black, that's my favorite.
One time I saw the Foo Fighters and I was like, they were so awesome. I was like, they really sound like Nirvana. I said it was,
I mean, by the way,
No irony.
what an asshole. Like Dave Grohl, like, you can't, that's not fair in the world of music to not only be like a musician in one of the greatest rock bands of all time, but then go on and be a different musician and the lead singer of another like Hall of Fame rock band. What an asshole.
it's almost like somebody who goes from a show like Supernatural to The Boys.
This is how that's gonna go. I'm gonna have a drink.
I didn't just call you an asshole, did I? No, okay.
That's all right.
Richard Spate roofied me yesterday. I went over there genuinely thinking I was getting a little bit of apple juice. And nobody told me.
Ruth, this is apple juice. Sure, yeah. No, it's from the finest red, delicious apples.
Utterly delicious.
Isn't it? I have a question for you.
Okay.
What is your favorite type of apple? This is such a divisive question.
I like a pink lady. Big, pink, crispy, juicy, sweet, and crunchy. Somebody over there really likes apples.
So I grew up on Red Delicious. I will never forgive my mother for this. Because I did not know that things like Honeycrisp existed, or Gala, or Fuji, or Pink Ladies. It was only Red Delicious, which is just all skin. You ever eaten a Red Delicious? It's just, you're just chewing on skin for an hour.
You're not a big apple guy then.
No, like once I found out, I'm a Honeycrisp guy. Honeycrisp all day. All day. And this is Honeycrisp.
What's your favorite grain? You ask me what your apple, that's what your favorite grain is it like?
Malt.
Mine's a dry. Mine's a dry. I like a barley.
I like a barley, I like a rye. As long as they're malted.
Yes, I like to mix other things over time.
Because we could be up here, I mean, listen, Ruth and I are going on tour next year. We could be up here all day.
I was just saying how you...
What were you saying?
I was saying earlier how you directed my first ever episode called Soul Survivor. And
I had to pin you to the ceiling. How are we going to do that?
yeah, that's right. And the first thing you ever said to me was, another redhead. That was the first words out of your mouth.
But I'm a sucker for them, clearly.
It was so awesome. And then saying that Comic-Con, I paid my own way. You were on the big Hall H panel or whatever, and I was in the audience. I've never been to Comic-Con, and I was there in the audience, and Jensen called me out from the audience. And that was the first time in my life anybody ever recognized me, or and I couldn't physically get out of the hall afterwards. That was you that did that.
That's because the fan base of Supernatural is an exquisite, undeniably, and not even arguably the best fandom in the world. I remember you when you came on, and I was like a redhead. She's beautiful, and she's got an accent. This is perfect. And then then the camera started rolling, and you started doing what you do so well, and I was just like, we got ourselves a new character for sure. And then that was it. Like, we were off to the races, and I just remember thinking, like, thank God for people like you to pick up the slack for people like Jared and I.
We filmed a lot of Mondays and Fridays. I started to realize my schedule was a lot of Mondays and Fridays.
Listen,
Guys had longer kids.
Mark Shepard talks about that all the time. He's like, oh yeah, I had to work all the Fridays and all the Mondays. But I mean, you have to understand, like, at that point, what season did you come on?
Dude, 10. I thought,
10.
I'm so lucky to be at the arse end of this wonderful show, to be in the final season, rounding off. Little did I know I'd spend the next 6 years of my life, and then the following 12 years on the road, which is my cue to exit.
Are you leaving? Oh, but we could do this all day. We could do this all day.
Thanks, everyone.
The unbelievably beautiful and remarkably talented Ruth Connell. I don't want to follow that. She's like the most lovable person on the planet. But not the most lovable character. Or is she? Right? I mean, she is, but she isn't. I play a character like that. Soldier Boy, yeah. Not the best person on the planet. But, yeah, oddly, I kind of root for him a bit. I don't know, yeah, I mean, I do in my fan heart, and I kind of feel like there are people out there that also oddly root for him. And I don't know what that says about us. Because he's not the best person. How we doing? We good?
Yes.
Should I take some questions or should I open with a story? Sounds good. Here we go. So, I flew here from New York yesterday morning. I got in, which means that I took off Thursday night. So, flight was at 7:30, something like that. And p.m. And we get to the airport. This is at JFK. And the plane that is coming in from wherever has been delayed, and that's the plane that we needed to take to Rome. So it's been delayed, and we're like, okay, all right, well, fine. And then apparently it gets delayed even more. So I don't know what was happening. Like, did it go down? It did not, for whatever reason, tailwind or headwinds was delaying it quite heavily. So, luckily we're in New York, and they've got spare planes hanging out in the hangars. So they dust off some old battle horse that's just been sitting in the hangar probably since the 80s. And they're like, that'll do, put him in the game. And so they get us this new plane, and I get on the plane, and I'm like, are these ashtrays? Oh, okay. And I immediately, I called Neil, and I'm like, hey, look. You might want to say a prayer. Because I don't know what's going to happen with this plane. And a friend of mine, actually, who is not part of this, he just happened to be flying to Rome at the same time that I was. And I was like, oh my gosh, what's up, dude? And so he and I were looking at each other like, so anyway, so we taxi out and, you know, put the old seatbelt on, and there was dust on it. And I'm like, when was the last time this was serviced? I don't even know. It was like, what are those thoughts? And I'm like, and we're about to go over an ocean for a long time. This is an 8-hour flight. And I was like, that's fine. So we get going down the runway, and we take off. I'm like, all right, it's promising. Engines work. And just when I think something wrong with the plane is going to happen, no. My abdominal muscle decides to cramp so hard. You guys ever have this? Like when you're at like just one single ab, and it just goes hit. And normally you would like stand up and like do one of these and like kind of stretch it out. I can't stand up. We've just left the ground. I'm in a seatbelt from the 80s, and I can't stand up. So now I'm in my chair going. And I'm like digging my hand. I'm like, no. And I'm like, I'm trying to breathe. I'm like breathing exercises, and I'm like trying to arch my back. I'm like trying to stretch it out, and then my back starts cramping, and I'm like, there was so much pain in my core at this point that I started to like laugh, cry, and I was like, ah! my poor neighbors probably just thought I was a bad flyer. They're like, well, that Jensen Ackles is not a good flyer. We took off and he lost his shit. This lasted for minutes. Minutes. And it's like, it's one thing, it was like, oh, that was like a 15-second thing. This was for minutes. And I had to balance between the back cramp and the ab cramp. And I had just flown from LA the day before. So I was working in LA 5 days ago on something that I can't tell you guys about, but I will at some point. So I was in LA on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday I came home, and I had been gone because I was also in Vancouver working on, I think you guys know, Tracker.
Yeah.
And so I'd been there for a bit working on that, and then I had to go to LA to do this other thing for a couple of days, and then came home, was basically like, dumped my suitcase out, and then refilled it with anything that was fresh. And so it was probably like the dehydration of flying and traveling and all of the above. But that was the worst takeoff that I've ever had. And I feel so bad for the people around me who were probably concerned at this point. Because he couldn't stand up, we were in our descent, and I couldn't get out of the chair because they would have created a problem. And I was just like, you're just gonna have to sit in this. You're gonna have, your ab is cramping, your back is cramping now. And I literally was just like, and that does nothing. Nothing. And it was awful. It was awful. Getting older is so fun. This is so great. And I just remember going like, this is ridiculous. And I'm gonna tell everyone in Rome about it. I hope no one around me took a picture, because it's gonna look like I'm possessed. I'm possessed and someone is performing an exorcism on me, because that's what it felt like. It was terrible. Anyway, I made it, I'm here, and I haven't had a cramp today. So, but there's still time. All right, let's get to some questions. We'll start over here.
Hi.
Hi.
I still have a little bit of voice, so I want to ask. After so many years of conventions and meeting fans, what kind of interactions still really touch you or stay in your heart?
All of them. And I'm not just saying that. I mean that. Sure, there are ones that stand out when you have like a multi-generational show up at the autograph table, and it's like, this is my daughter and this is my mother, and we all watch the show, or whatever it is. But also stories about how the show gave you strength, or gave you inspiration to deal with something that was happening personally. I've heard so many amazing things, and it's one of the reasons why, like I do, and a lot of us still enjoy these things, is because we get feedback from the people that what we do has struck a nerve with them, and so we don't get that on a set. You know, you might get that if you're in theater and you've got an audience in front of you and you perform, and then you get that kind of like energetic feedback, but you don't get that on set. And so when we get to come here and we get to hear the stories of how what we have done has affected them in any capacity, that still is really inspiring to me, and I know to a lot of the guys and gals that do what we do. And so I've had a lot of actors that I've worked with recently who don't do these things, and have asked me, you know, intense questions of like I'm really interested in like, I want to go and do that. And I was like, okay, well, I can't help you. But because they have heard about things like this, and they've heard about the commonality between the love of what has been created, not just the people that were involved in creating it, but the people that were involved in supporting it, and that I think means the world to us and to the people that get to make it, to be able to share it with you, and then to also hear how it affected you, or how it resonates, or how it struck a chord, or how it was tethered to a time in your life when you needed it the most. So anytime I get to hear those stories, that really inspires me, and that really means a lot to me. So yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi Jensen, my name is Nika and it's my first con.
Welcome.
I've been dreaming about it since I was 14, now I'm 40, almost 30.
It was like you were dreaming about it since you were 14, and you said 40, and I was like, no. No, we've got some bad math.
I'm nervous, sorry.
It's okay. Well, hey, welcome.
Thank you.
And I hope you're having a good time.
Yeah, I'm thrilled.
It's a fun place to be.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And first of all, I want to thank you for still doing this. It's amazing. So I watched a lot of videos and from different cons, and I really enjoy hearing some funny stories with you and your friends. So I'm curious, have there been any funny, awkward, or funny stories that have happened to you recently with fans?
Violent stories? Funny stories.
Yeah.
With fans.
Yeah.
You can only think about
No, I don't have any violent stories. Any funny stories? Gosh, I'm in kind of a unique, I don't want to say ranking, but as far as like celebrity goes, I can be recognizable, but also I can walk around with a little anonymity. And so that gives me freedom to try and live, try to walk around normally, but understand that there could be interactions. As opposed to somebody that is, a massive movie star and they walk around and everyone on the street knows who they are. It's like then they've got to take precautions. I can walk around a little bit without precaution, mostly. But it does lend itself to having some interactions. Just yesterday, after I got into town, I wanted to go visit her place, and Daniela was with me, and she was like, "Okay, well we can walk there," and I was like, "Great." So we walked there, and as we were walking through lots of crowds. I don't know if you guys have been in the city, but it is very crowded this weekend. I guess it's a holiday weekend, so it's very, very, very packed with visitors and tourists and everything. So I was just kind of head down and glasses on and walking through, but also looking around, admiring Rome because I love this town and I love being here and seeing the sights. And I guess this young woman walked past and in Italian just goes, looked at me, but didn't recognize me, and just goes, "Oh, fuck, he's handsome." Now, I didn't understand it because she said it in Italian, and I don't know how to say that in Italian, so I didn't understand it when she said it. But Daniela just started laughing. I go, what? She goes, "That woman, what she just said." And I'm like, "What, who?" And then she told me. So, I don't know, that was yesterday afternoon. That was funny to me. But Daniela was saying, like, the way that it was phrased in Italian was like very like, it was like a shock. I don't know what that means. But I'll tell you what, after coming off a flight and doing this, that made me feel good. Thank you. Hi.
Hi.
Although we're house lights up. Are we good?
No.
Yeah, good, great.
Yep.
Aces. All right. Hi.
Hi. My question is about supernatural. Do you have some ideas or storylines that haven't been used during 15 seasons of the Supernatural and that can be used in the season 16 if we get lucky to have it?
There were always ideas floating around. I mean, Spade and I came up with a whole episode idea one time, but we never pitched it because you have to understand, like, there's a team of writers sitting in a room, and that is their entire job to come up and create stories, and to put those stories on the board and then pick them apart, try to find ways of making them better. And they spent days and days, hours and hours and hours and days doing all this. And so me and Spade coming up to them being like, "Hey, you know what would be funny?" and expecting that to happen. We weren't quite there yet. Like, Supernatural was still a show that was we were just trying. We were trying to do our best. And so we weren't in the position of being like, "Hey, let's like for the actors, be like, hey, let's try this. What if I did this?" I mean, we would do that on set as a way of just like embellishing what was written. But the writers and the showrunners that we had on the show, I guess I understood how hard they worked to create what they created. And so I never wanted to come in and be like, "I can do that," because I don't think I could. And in fact, I know I can't. I could maybe have ideas about performances and ideas about chemistry, or maybe a little idea about a storyline, but when it comes to conceptualizing things on that, at that degree, like, that's why they get paid what they do to do what they do. So there are ideas and stories that we've had, that I've had, Jared's had, that Spade and Rob and Misha, and a lot of us have had, about, what would be cool, but the writers have had 17 times that many ideas that have been like, what would be cool, and all of those get in the trash can. And then it's like the one that rises to the top is actually the one that gets made. So, it's the same thing. My friend that was on the plane with me yesterday is the lead singer of a band, and he's writing right now, and he was telling me, he was like, we've got, write me songs, and I was like, oh, wow. I was like, that seems like a lot of songs. I was like, you doing like a double album? And he's like, no, you know the deal. If you need 12 songs for an album, you gotta write 24. And it is true. And I immediately forgot. I was like, oh, of course, Steve and I, when we were doing a radio company, we wrote probably at least 8 to 10 more songs than what ended up on the album. And it's because you have to cherry pick the ones that make the most sense. So, are there ideas? Yes. But I can't remember them. That was a long way of saying, no, I don't have any ideas. But also giving the writers credit that they do an extremely good job.
Thank you.
Hi.
I would like to know, when you listen to music alone, do you create your own visual imagery, or do you use the lyrics to create the imagery, or do you just enjoy the music? For example, when you're like traveling with headphones.
It's a good question. I think it largely depends on what I'm doing. You know, if I'm at home and I'm doing something, whether it's, you know, I'm packing. Let's say I'm packing, because I've been doing that a lot lately. I'll just put on music, but it's kind of background music. It's something that kind of keeps me energetic, and I'm not thinking about the words, I'm not thinking about the lyrics, I'm just hearing the music. But if I'm sitting on a plane and I put my headphones on, and I don't watch a lot of stuff, like if there's a TV in front of me, I turn that off. If I'm going to watch anything, it's like maybe a downloaded movie that I have on my iPad or something, and that's it. Otherwise, I just have my headphones on, I'm just listening to the music. And so when I'm doing that, I'm not looking at the lyrics. It's more of listening to the vocals and hearing the instrumentation and listening to the sounds, and then seeing it, like letting it paint me a portrait. This morning when I was getting ready, and this, like, my music taste is all over the place, so don't think like, oh, this is what he listens to when he gets ready. No, because tomorrow morning it might be something totally different. But this morning I was listening to the new 9 Inch Nails album, 9 Inch Noise, for those who know. And it's a heavy, it's like a heavy kind of music, but it was energetic, and I was listening to it, but then I would also stop what I was doing and listen to the music and how they were doing it. And I'm listening to it more from a technical standpoint, like going like, oh wow, the phrasing of the music is unique, or the phrasing of the lyrics are unique in that song. And so, yeah, so it just depends on what I'm doing and where I'm at, but my music, tomorrow morning I might be listening to Casey Musgraves. Like, it could go from 9 Inch Nails to that, like, or what's the girl, Olivia Dean, or something like that. Like, legit, like, I'm just a music fan, and I'll listen to all of it. There's some that I won't, but I try to listen to a lot of it. And because it touches a different part of your soul. I think all music has the opportunity to touch a different part of your soul. So, try to listen to a lot of it. Yeah. Thank you. Hello.
Hi. So you once talked about how you never want to meet your idols, and you want to admire them from the distance because you don't want to ruin the picture that you have in your head about them. So I felt the same. On one hand, I did want to come here and meet you. On the other hand, I didn't. So now I'm wondering, what do you think about us coming to these conventions and meeting you? Do you worry about the fans' perception of you will be changed after meeting you?
Let me ask you this. You were 50-50 on coming here.
Yeah.
Was it the right move? And this is why I say don't meet meet people you admire. Yeah, it's a terrible, terrible mistake. It's a massive letdown. And you're welcome.
You didn't answer.
Listen, you have an unfair advantage because I've done a few of these, and there is a reputation out there about me. I don't know what it is, but I assume it varies from interaction to interaction. But there are also videos out there about me doing this and interacting, and so I feel like if you wanted to do your homework, you could do your homework on me and kind of understand what you were getting yourself into.
I did my homework, but I wanted to come here and check what.
So you did your homework, and I still failed?
I asked the question. Don't ask me.
Cramp! All right. That is why I said what I said. Going back to, you brought it up. Going back to saying what I said because there is not a lot of, you can't go online. I mean, maybe you could, but for a lot of the people that I think you might admire, whether it's musicians or artists or actors or you know, politicians, although I'm not quite sure why you would, or whatever, there might not be as much material to look at and be like, okay, I like this person's music or art or TV show. I'm gonna go see how he acts with fans and in the real world, or when he's stopped on the street or whatever. I don't feel like there's a lot of that out there for the majority of actors. I feel like I certainly have a niche in that pocket. So if you were going to take a chance on someone, I feel like you might have picked a good one to take a chance on. What does that mean? She's like, I should have never come. Like, what is this circus? Listen, they're not all like this. This one's special. It's a bit of a unicorn. Whether that's good or bad, I'm not quite sure, but we're still glad you're here. I feel like there's so many people missing on this stage. It's weird sitting up here with like all these empty chairs. But at least I'm not looking out to a bunch of empty chairs. Thank you guys. All right, where were we? Hi.
I have a question about Soldier Boy.
About Soldier Boy?
Yes.
Oh, boy.
You know him?
Yeah, I've heard of him.
Well, if you heard of him, then maybe you heard of him saying a lot of pretty messed up stuff.
Yeah, he's got an interesting take on things.
Yeah. So, were there any moments on set, and I'm sure there were, where you and the rest of the cast just cracked up so hard that it took like a bunch of takes to actually finish the lines?
Yeah. There was one scene in the third episode, which I feel like I feel like I need to clear some things up on, because somebody sent me. Well, somebody I mentioned this earlier. Somebody sent me like a Twitter thing or X, whatever. I never do all that stuff. But they sent me a thing and it was like, apparently you and Daniil are divorced. And I was like, what? And there was like I guess a picture of me that was taken in, yeah. So when I was in Vancouver last week filming Tracker, I met up with some of my Supernatural crew because we are still friends and we're still family, and anytime I get a chance to meet up with them, I do. I didn't get a chance to meet up with all of them, but I got to see a few of them, and that was great. But I had literally just come from set, and I have to take this thing off when I work, and I usually just put it in my pocket and like keep it in my jeans. Sometimes if I'm like working back to back to back to back, I'll put it in the safe in the hotel room, and just I'm like I don't want to lose it, right? And so I just got back to the hotel. They met me in my hotel lobby, and we had a nice little drink and reunion, and took a picture, and I didn't even think about it. And then of course it got posted, and people were like, oh, he's not wearing his wedding ring. Oh my God. So, what? We're fine. We're about to celebrate our 16th wedding anniversary. It's fine. Anyway, that got me onto the Twitter thing, and I started scrolling, and I was like, and then of course, because my name was involved, it started showing me things that involved me, and then it got onto Soldier Boy, and it was like talking about a certain, it's talking about so much, and all of it was like just awful. And I was like, what are you talking about? And it was not all of it, but it was the conspiracy theories of like why he was doing this or why this was happening or whatever. And one of the comments was the fact that the scene between Firecracker and Soldier Boy, where apparently it fell onto us and I was not moving. Yeah, clearly you weren't the only one that noticed. Because I was like, wait, what? And then I went back and looked at it and I was like, so that was one camera angle. We did that scene from probably 8 different camera angles and probably 3 to 5 takes per camera angle. And the camera angle I thought they were using for that moment was not that camera angle. So I don't know, this is goes back to like the editing, like we do what we do and then we put it to the editors and they do what they do. So you can even see like I'm holding on to the sheets because I thought that the scene was starting with just Val like rolling off and then I was ready to like kick the sheets up on her to keep her covered. Just being a nice guy. That's it. And I guess, I don't know, they did that, and that's what it was, and it was fine. Like, whatever, I'm not, we have an amazing editor team, an amazing post-production team, but that was, I remember doing much more, much more on some different camera angles that they opted not to use. Not my fault. Anyway, in that scene, gosh, you see the weave that it's like, just hang on, guys, hang on, I'll get there. Hang on, it's a long train ride. There were lines in that scene where I was laying next to Val, Soldier Boy was laying next to Firecracker, where I had some doozies. And not all of them made the cut either. There was some extra ones. And then I also added some ones of my own that didn't make the cut either. That scene was 15 minutes long, but it became 2.5. Not even. But the one that was tough to get through, and Val and I had a hard time getting through, was the shaved. There's some people in this crowd that were like, what? I want to talk about the barn scene. So yeah, there was some there's another scene coming up that takes that one and goes whoop. And Kripke did tell me, he was like, I think that's my favorite. He said, I think it's one of my, I don't think he said it was his favorite. I don't want to say that because Carl and Ant and Jack and Laz and those guys will kill me. But Kripke did say to me, he was like, it was one of my most favorite rewrites that he had to do. Because he wrote a line for me that Standards and Practices said, can't do that.
On Amazon?
On The Boys. He wrote a line for me that was too far. And so he goes, all right, is it just the verbiage? Meaning the word that he chose? And they were like, yeah, he can't say that. He's like, what if I made an analogy? And he somehow made it worse.
I'm looking forward to it.
And getting through that one was very difficult. Largely because the only way I could get through it was the fact that my grandmother was not alive. I was like, because I don't think I could say these words. I don't think I could do it. No, it is still, he's so much fun to play because he's such a departure. But also there's like this, like I know this guy because I've known men like him from like older generations. I'm like, oh yeah, like my uncle had a friend, or like there was a neighbor down the street. I'm like, okay, I think I got this guy. But it's a wild thing to play him when you have Eric Kripke writing his dialogue. So yeah, it gets worse. Okay, that's it for me. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I love you guys. Thank you for being here. Thank you for bringing us back here. You guys keep giving them love and we'll try to get it right back. Appreciate it.